Hello, Steve White, Tripway89 for Steve Arts 89, Star Trek's Gatekeeper. Okay, I had plans tonight, and then they dropped the trailer for the Star Trek The Motion Picture Director's Edition 4K restoration. And then I spent the rest of my night obsessing on that and looking over the original motion picture, the Director's Edition, and the trailer, and comparing all the shots with all the scenes and looking at screen captures and everything and making comparisons and doing a bit of a review. Now, the trailer, I think, was released, it was on Trek Core, and there was an article, but then it got pulled back. Apparently it was there and now it's gone. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if it was leaked, if it was supposed to be announced. It's going to be supposedly going to be released for streaming exclusive to Paramount Plus on April 5th, which is going to be great for people all around the world who don't have Paramount Plus. I have it in Australia, so it's not a problem for me, but other people won't be able to see it, apparently. Now, there doesn't seem to be any official coordinated campaign or anything. There was just this one trailer, and it doesn't seem to have an official source. One YouTuber put it up, and that was being shared, and I don't know if it was leaked or if they're just starting the campaign, or that's all they're doing to promote it. I really don't know. But I'm doing this little review in good faith, assuming that this preview is supposed to be seen. So don't come for me. Okay, so the trailer goes for about a minute 30 seconds. I wish it was 30 minutes long. It starts off pretty simple. You have some shots of the Enterprise. You have Kirk arriving. You then you're in Voyager, basically. Of course, the Enterprise leaves. You have the Enterprise going to warp. There's just random scenes inside of Voyager on the journey, and then just sort of ends off with some dialogue towards the end of the film. It's gives you an idea of what's happening in the film, but it doesn't really focus on the story or anything, because we all know the story. We don't really need to be sold on it. We just need to sort of have a look at it. So there's some text cards. It says, the incredible voyage you've been waiting for has finally arrived for the first time ever in stunning 4K, remastered from the original negative with new high-resolution visual effects and Dolby Atmos sound, streaming exclusive to Paramount Plus, April 5. So yeah, there's some cute dialogue at the end. Towards the end, McCoy says, oh, you're just as warm and sociable as ever to Spock, and you see Scotty and Kirk smiling at each other from another scene, and then you have McCoy and Kirk talking about, launching something and hoping that they, gave it a good start, and that dialogue at the end of the film and that. So it's cute. It's done well. There's the Voyager music at the start, the Voyager music at the start, and sort of moments are sort of highlighted with some sort of sound effects and that. It has a sort of slow start, and then you get the Star Trek music and all that. It's got a nice build. It's a decent trailer, but the real focus is, of course, the actual shots and the quality. Now, the overall quality of the footage, just of people talking and all that, looks fine. The special effects are a mixed bag. Some of the shots look really good. Some of the shots are problematic. Now, I spoke about this before, but the production team, which the main guys are David C. Fine, Mike Matticino, and Darren R. Doctorman. He's a visual effects supervisor. Matticino is the restoration. God, I can't talk, sorry. It's very late. It's like 6 a.m. I've been up all night. And the producer is David C. Fine. Now, they all worked on the original Director's Edition, and I had a lot of faith in them, but they started talking about changing the colour grading of the film to expand the colour, basically to showcase HDR. So people have HDR software or TV or whatever, they will be able to see a greater range of colour and contrast, but if you don't, you're going to get a very contrasty image where I'm finding a lot of the footage is blown out and you lose the detail, and the other sections are really dark, and there's a lot of colour that wasn't there before, tones that weren't really there before. I think this is probably from viewing it without, not in the way it's supposed to be, which is kind of unfair to a lot of people who won't be viewing it that way. So I have issues about that, and I expressed them, and I got in a lot of trouble, which I'll talk about at the end of this video. But right now, with the actual shots, just going to go through them, because some of the new effects shots from the director's edition, of course, have been redone, and then some of the other older ones also seem to have been redone in so much as they've been put back together and composited. Now, the main issue is colour. Like the Klingon torpedoes are no longer orange, they're red. V'ger's torpedoes, they were this sort of sparkly, sort of greeny yellow sort of torpedoes, plasma torpedoes. Now they're very pale green and white, so they don't really look as good, and they're a bit softer. The dry dock is overexposed when Kirk is going over the saucer in the shuttle, and he looks up at the docking, the dry dock at the top above him. It's really washed out, and you lose detail in some of the parts. They've added a blue flash of light on the underside of the torpedo, on the underside of the saucer, when the torpedo is shot at the asteroid in the wormhole, which looks nice. So that's an addition, which works. The asteroid explosion, you actually see the light still dragging because the Enterprise is at warp or still in the warp, in the wormhole, which is something that wasn't in the director's edition or the original edition. Now, unfortunately, some shots of the Enterprise are overexposed and you lose the detail. The Aztec pattern and stuff like that is you can't really see it. And that seems to be, some shots look perfect. Other shots look overexposed, which is very inconsistent and kind of worrying. Now, Ilea's data pattern, you can see the little streams of light around her are much brighter and bluer, and they look good. The light around the probe on her neck is a lot more pink and bright. So some of the shots where they're just enhancing the colour that's there looks really good, and it's probably in some cases, like with the reflection of the probe on Spock's spacesuit screen helmet thing, that is much pinker, and that looks a lot better, and that might have been something that was composited and part of it was lost in the compositing or doing it as a reflection or whatever. So things like that, it kind of works, and other times it doesn't. Like Spock's thruster when he goes into the into V'ger, it's really orange now, and some of the background of V'ger is kind of really yellow now, whereas before it was very slight, because V'ger basically had this overall cold steel blue, because it was part of its character and part of the theme and that, and they brought up these other colours in it, and it kind of undoes it, and it doesn't look as good, and it changes the tone and how it feels, and I think the character of it. Now, when you have the Enterprise going to finally meet V'ger, and you have the little like tendrils of little cubes that join together, that is really white. It's lost all its blue colour, and the lights on the Enterprise are really yellow now, whereas before they were very white and it was a blue tone overall, like a lot of the other shots inside V'ger, because V'ger was supposed to be barren and cold on the and that was reflected, and some of the shots are sort of undoing that. Okay, V'ger's, when we actually see V'ger at the end, we never saw V'ger completely in the original film. In the director's edition, we saw the whole thing, and it was very dark and blue, and it had some light green lighting, very light lighting, because when you see it lit inside V'ger, it's this sort of light green, sort of yellow with blue, sort of light green, sort of soft tone. It's got this nice underwater sort of quality, and it's just beautiful. But on the ship now, on this edition of it, it's just overblown. The back part, which has kind of had a bit of yellow in it, now is like bright flaming yellow and orange, almost like it's a thruster at the back of it, like a rocket or something. And then the sections with light on the outside of the ship, they're now pulsing, glowing yellow instead of just this nice sort of pale, sort of subtle sort of green, sort of almost sort of fluorescent sort of lighting. Now it's just this bright burning yellow light, and it just doesn't work. And that, with the other green lighting at the end and the orange right at the very end and the overall colour of the ship, it just clashes and it just doesn't work. And whoever did that shot has just absolutely ruined it and made a mess out of it. It's probably the worst part of the whole preview and the whole film so far that I can see. San Francisco Bay is the issue I was concerned the most with, because the original shot, they had several shots planned of the bay, and they didn't finish them. They just had one shot of the shuttle going across to the tram station, and then they put a shot of the Starfleet SEAL, which is on the floor of the station instead, when they didn't have the shots finished. So in the director's edition, they had two very bland shots of the bay and the bridge, and they had one close-up shot sort of replicating the shot of the shuttle going in, but they did it with a real digital camera, and they did the worst digital drawing of this tram station, and it was one-dimensional. It was just awful. They have fixed it, but they recreated it exactly where it's the same angles and everything, which they originally only did that angle because they did it by taking out a digital camera and doing it in person. So they don't have the dynamic angles of the matte paintings, and they don't have the feel of the other matte paintings and that 70s sort of dynamic. And even though the quality is much better, it looks like a real location and everything. It's very dark. The water looks really dark. The sky looks really dark. It doesn't have the same sort of colours of the original and that. I really wished, because they talked about finding some of the original elements and recreating some of the shots that were never completed. I was hoping they were going to do the tram station shot where you're looking up at the hill and it's sitting up on the top of the hill, sort of poking over it, and there's a little shuttle going toward it. That looked amazing. I was hoping they were going to finish that instead of just recreating those two shots that look pretty much the same in the director's edition. So I'm hoping they finish that other shot and you just get one shot instead of the two that look the same, and then the old shot that wasn't finished, and then the new shot, which is sort of a combination of the other two shots, like looking at the bridge from a distance and then having the shuttle going in, because you saw the bridge from a distance would go from very close to very small, and it had a real dynamic sort of element to it. And now Last Vulcan is probably the best shot, because it looks and feels exactly the same, but it is different. It's the same colour, same tone, just a few little things changed, and it looks really good. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think the colour grading does ruin some of the shots. The colour is too strong. It breaks the overall consistent sort of tone that they had with the colour and the colour palette. And I think that kind of affects the characterization of Vija, which is done, of course, through the lighting and the colour and the textures and the tones and everything. It just really hurts it, I think. And I can't say much more, though, to criticise it, because I have some theories from some people that I've heard some things from and that. But when I did my other videos and put them up on the Facebook groups for the Star Trek the Motion Picture groups, I was removed from all of them. I was told it was because some of the people on the crew were in those groups, and they let it known they didn't like my comments, and it was told to me, allegedly, supposedly, that they had me removed because supposedly, allegedly, in my opinion, which I'm entitled to have and express, there are a lot of Paramount shills who are in the groups who have people deleted and blocked and criticised and bullied, so they can't criticise the film or anything about the production. And I've gotten some abuse from some people who claim to be associated with the groups, and some threats, some legal threats, and just a lot of bullying and a lot of insults on my in the comments and also in my direct messages. So that was very distressing, to be removed from all these groups, which I've followed for years. Star Trek Motion Picture is my favourite Star Trek, and it's just really, really, really devastating to not be able to share this with all the other people in the groups and be able to go into the groups and talk about this right now, because that's what I would have been doing all day. I would have been in the groups, looking at other people's posts, putting up pictures, doing comparisons, all this sort of stuff, and I can't do it because I've been cut out. I've been blocked, I've been banned, I've been removed, I've been cancelled, basically, because I questioned, I criticised some of the shots and questioned why some of this was being done, that they were showcasing the benefits of HDR more so than they were sticking to the original look and to a true sort of restoration of the original film. So that was very disheartening. And like I said, I don't know if these people were really from the groups, or if the people in the production crew really did ask me to be removed or not. But that's what I was told, and that's what I believe. It's not fun, and I don't think it's fair, and it doesn't really go with the spirit of the groups. And I'm just going to leave it at that, and I'm going to go and I'm going to keep going through the books. It's made me get all excited about Star Trek, the motion picture again. I'm going to go read the making of book and that, and do a bit more research and that, and probably do another video about that. And it'll be curious to see what happens. Was this video leaked? Is this all the promotion we're getting, or did they have a whole campaign and this was leaked before the rest was planned? What's going to happen? Why was it put up on TrekCore and then taken down? It'll be interesting to see how this all goes in the next couple of days. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.